Ever tried to like apply factory floor efficiency to your whole life?
Yeah.
Your to-do list, your relationships, even hobbies? Sounds kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, a little bit, haha.
Well, that's the wild premise behind this book we're diving into, Lean Into It, by Lucas Hahn.
Right, right.
So lean methodology usually aired about like manufacturing, right? Factories, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's super common in those fields. A lot of people think it's only for that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But Han's saying it's way bigger, and his background is actually what makes it so convincing.
Totally. He wasn't some, like, consultant who just read about this stuff. This guy had a whole career in engineering energy.
Yeah.
He's lived this.
Exactly. So he's coming from a place of success already, and then he finds lean, and it's like it takes everything up a notch.
Exactly. And what's interesting is where he goes with it. You know, it's not just, oh, I saved my company a few bucks with this one process. Like, he applies it to everything.
Yeah. And that's what caught my eye, too. The chapter titles alone had me hooked. Lean religion, lean sports, even leaning into everything. This isn't your average business book.
Definitely not. It makes you rethink what lean even is, you know? Like, can you really apply this to anything?
Right. And it all comes back to that core idea. Reducing waste, always getting better.
Yeah, exactly. And Han doesn't get all jargony about it either. He calls waste struggles,
Yeah.
which I actually love. It's those little things that trip you up, whether it's on an assembly line or just trying to plan a family vacation.
Totally. And it makes it relatable, you know? Like, we've all got those struggles.
Yeah. Exactly. It's all about respecting your time and effort, not making things harder than they have to be.
And he illustrates this perfectly with the story from his childhood. So before lean was even a thing for him, he's already thinking this way.
Oh, yeah. What do you do?
So as a kid, he had a paper route, right?
Okay, classic.
But he was obsessed with optimizing it. Like, he'd plan the order of deliveries down to the minute, experiment with different routes to shave off time, constantly tweaking to make it more efficient.
Wow, lean before you even knew it.
Right. It shows that this drive for efficiency, this continuous improvement thing, and it can show up anywhere, even in a kid with a paper route.
Totally. And that's what's so cool about this story.
Yeah, even.
He's using it to show that you might already be doing lean things without realizing it. This book just helps you spot them.
It's like you don't need a total life overhaul. You just need to recognize those instincts and maybe, like, refine them a bit. But, okay, this all sounds good in theory, but does it actually work? That's where it gets really interesting. Han's not just talking the talk. He's got all these, like, lean flex moments from his own life, places he's actually used this stuff and gotten crazy results.
Oh, okay, so what kind of stuff are we talking? Like, did he just make his morning routine faster?
Oh, it's way bigger than that. We're talking saving his company millions of dollars with process mapping, improving communication in his family, even using lean to help his son get better at GGOLF.
Wait, hold on. Golf. Like, what do you, that's where I kind of get skeptical. It sounds almost too good to be true, you know?
Totally. And that's what's so cool about how Han writes. He doesn't just make these vague claims. He gets specific. He's got examples, data, the whole 9 yards.
Okay, so he's not asking us to just take his word for it. He's showing his work. I like that.
Exactly. He lays it all out there, step by step. And what really blew my mind was how he connects these totally different areas, from business to family to, GOF, back to those core lean principles.
Okay, you got to walk me through this golf thing because that one has me stumped. How do you even DO lean golf?
All right, so picture this. Han's son's a decent golfer, right? But he wants to get really good, like next level stuff.
Makes sense. Every athlete wants that edge.
Exactly. So Han, being Mr. Lean, he's not going to just tell his kid to, like, practice harder, right? He takes a systematic approach.
So what, they built a robot caddy or something?
Yeah, not quite, but kind of similar in a way. They break down the kid's entire game.
Yeah.
Driving, approach shots, putting, everything. Then they analyze each piece to find weak points. Kind of like that value stream mapping thing Lean talks about.
Right. Visualizing the whole process, figuring out where the bottlenecks are.
Exactly. And in this case, the bottleneck was putting. Driving, approach shots, all good, but the putting was inconsistent. Lots of 3 putts, you know how it is.
Painful, especially when you've nailed the rest of your game.
Exactly. So they focus their energy there, using data, observation, everything to figure out what's going wrong with the putting stroke. Then they tried different techniques to fix it.
It's that whole you can't improve what you don't measure deal, right? Data-driven golf.
Exactly. And the results were crazy. In a couple months, kids' putting is way better. Scores plummet, even won some junior tournaments.
No way. All thanks to lean putting. That's wild.
Right. It just goes to show this whole idea of breaking things down, finding the weak links, then testing solutions. It applies everywhere. Even something as different from manufacturing as, well, golf.
Okay, you've convinced me. Lean golf is a thing. But then Han takes it even further, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't just stop at personal wins.
Right. This is where it goes from interesting to kind of mind-blowing. He starts talking about lean for huge problems. World hunger, political gridlock, even climate change. I mean, it's one thing to say lean can help your golf game, but world hunger, that's a whole other level.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. Like, does he actually think lean can solve everything?
Well, to be fair, he does say he doesn't have all the answers. He even admits lean isn't like a magic wand you can wave at these huge problems.
Okay, good, because that would be a bit much, even for this book.
Right. But here's the thing. His point is that lean thinking, the mindset itself, that's what's powerful. It's about always looking for root causes, cutting out waste, giving people ownership, and constantly trying, failing, trying again.
So less about having the solution, more about having a framework for finding solutions.
Okay.
It's kind of like no matter how big the problem, you approach it with those same lean principles.
Exactly. And he uses a really interesting example. Food waste. Everyone knows it's a huge part of the hunger problem globally, right? But Han's saying, what if we got really lean about it? Streamlining those supply chains, figuring out how to drastically reduce spoilage, empowering those local communities to be part of the solution.
Instead of just throwing food aid at the problem, which, let's be honest, doesn't always work that well long term.
Exactly. It's about finding where the system is broken, where the waste is happening, and then applying that lean lens to fix it. And here's the really cool part. He's not just preaching this stuff. He's actively looking for people to work with, to actually apply lean to these big, messy, real-world problems.
Yeah, so he's putting his money where his mouth is. I can respect that.
Right. It's like he's saying, look, I've seen what this can do. Now who's going to step up and help me take it further? And that, I think, is a perfect place to leave things for our listeners today. We've covered a lot of ground, from factories to golf courses to, well, the fate of the world. But the thing that stuck with me is that lean isn't just about work. It's about how you approach anything. That constant drive to get better, even if it's just one small step at a time.
And it's not like you have to become a lean guru overnight. Remember that story about Han's paper route? Chances are you're already doing some of this stuff in your own life. You just haven't called it lean.
Exactly. So here's something to chew on. Where could you lean in a bit more? What's a challenge, big or small, personal or professional, that might benefit from that lean mindset?
Because even tiny changes, done consistently, they add up. That's the whole point, right?
Absolutely. Who knows, maybe a little dose of lean thinking is all it takes to unlock a whole new level of efficiency, clarity, even a little more joy in those everyday things. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.